This is why they changed the hole, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, some will say the par 3 was a better finisher. I think the holes leading up to 18 as a par 3 were better, but there's no question that this finishing hole lends to more excitement, and there we got some right there because these players can get there in 2 shots. And here's Valenzuela, 227 away. Looks like a nice high cut swing, trying to work it in there slightly left to right, and she does just that.
And she's been in big spots before. One of 3 amateurs that competed in the 2016 Rio Olympics. Now it's Ho.
This is for birdie. She chipped to here. That was a very difficult chip. The green running away from her. So a good chip to get it to there. But there she says, you're going to have to make that putt to win, Miss Valenzuela.
Big time birdie putt. All the pressure on Valenzuela. This is for eagle in the wind.
Up the hill, not much break in it, and there is your champion.
And it is the second tournament win of Valenzuela's collegiate career. She also won the 2017 Albuquerque Regional. It's an eagle on 18 to win by 1. Incredible drama and action. Can only imagine what Tuesday and Wednesday from the East Lake Cup have in store. So, Ryan, you take a look at it. The women always seem to provide great drama in collegiate golf, especially here on Golf Channel. What do you make of it coming down to the final hole? Both women make big-time putts, but Valenzuela wins it with an eagle.
That's what you've come to expect from her. She is a prime-time player. She's proven it. What a luxury for Stanford coach Ann Walker to have a player of her caliber on the roster, a player who has been in all these big spots throughout her career, the 5th-ranked amateur in the world. She's played in the Olympics. She's won golf tournaments. She's contended in a major. She was in 12th place heading into the final round of this year's A&A Inspiration. She's played in 2 NCAA championships and gotten to match play. She's had injury issues over the past couple of years. If she's healthy, she has the potential to be the #1 ranked amateur in the world. She's that talented.
Wow. And we know what that ultimately means as far as the LPGA Tour with the current rules. If she does obviously stay inside the top 5, the path becomes cleared for her to be playing on the big tour.
Yeah, the LPGA, with their new Q Series, it takes the top 5 from Golf Week's rankings at the end of the season. Those 5 players get an automatic exemption into the final stage of the Q Series. That's important because players who are in that Q Series in the final stage automatically receive at least some Symetra Tour status, with the possibility of getting their LPGA card if they're inside the top 45.
And women's golf, especially on the collegiate side, Trip, a little bit different than the men's side, because on the LPGA Tour we see so many youngsters that aren't even playing college golf that are playing professionally. Someone like Valenzuela, so seasoned, you'd have to believe that will help long term.
You would think so. And you know, she's had some experience in playing in professional events. I mentioned the A&A. Now, ultimately, she faltered with a last round 79 and fell to outside the top 50. But to do that in a major championship setting has got to give you confidence going forward. I tell you what should give her some confidence, though, how she finished this tournament off. I mean, when she needed this shot, 227 away, the flag is accessible over there on the left-hand side, but be right, she says. And, I mean, it was right at it the whole way and just sets up a beautiful putt. She knew she had to make it. And when you come through in these situations, when you're tested like this is going to pay big dividends for her going forward. And I agree with Ryan. I think she has all the potential to put #1 next to her ranking. But I think it's almost a shoe-in that she's going to be in the top 5 come the end of the season, because she'll who knows? I mean, probably take that path to the LPGA Tour. But right now, her steps and her evolution certainly looks bright.
Well, and I'll tell you, when you look at her career, especially at the East Lake Cup, remember now, Stanford plays in this just about every year. I mean, this is the Stanford Invitational at East Lake Cup. But she's had some great results, close to winning the individual 3 other times. Finally breaks through. And
Stanford needs her. This is the first time all year long that Stanford has had both Andrea Lee and Albin Valenzuela in the same golf tournament. You see what they do winning the stroke play portion of this championship.
In her, obviously, in her now 3rd East Lake Cup, she's got, or 4th East Lake Cup, she's got 2/3, a second, and a win.
Wow.
Will that work, Trip?
That'll work.
That'll
every
work.
time.
All right, so a great win for Valenzuela. She's with our Chantel McCabe.
Well, Albin, your 2nd career collegiate win, and you pull it off with an eagle on the final hole. How were you able to do that?
It felt great. I think I was just very patient the entire day. I played very steady golf, and coming down the stretch, I knew it was coming down between Yusong and myself. So it's like, you know, she's making a lot of putts. You also need to make one, and well, turned out to be a good one on 18. So I was really happy.
It was almost like match play in the stroke play portion of competition, and you are very familiar with this golf course because you've been at East Lake Cup before. How much did that work to your favor?
It definitely helped. You know, I think like I know the course much better, and I also think my game improved. You know, over the last 2 years, I felt much more comfortable coming in this year, and yeah, I just love this place. It's a very special, unique event, and was very happy to be here this year again.
I saw a nice little huddle with you and your teammates after you took a picture with the trophy. What was kind of the message for the group, and how can they ride the momentum off you?
I mean, the team did great as well. I think, you know, Aline had like 5 birdies on the back 9, Andrea as well, so they're doing phenomenal. And I think as a group we have a really good vibe, and we could really feel it today on the course. And just in general, we're all very happy to be here and excited for match play.
A job well done. Congratulations. Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
So Stanford, the top seed, entering match play with a resounding performance here on Monday, will be the big favorite. USC second, Arizona third, and Alabama will ultimately be the 4th seed as we start match play tomorrow. Still to come on Golf Central, we will hear from Viktor Hovland, fresh off his win at the East Lake Cup. Just so much confidence for the reigning U.S. amateur champ. And Jordan Spieth, he had a heck of a college career in 1 year, but now Jordan, he's back to the PGA Tour. He'll play this week in Las Vegas. What do we expect for Spieth in the new season? Next.
Golf Central is brought to you by TaylorMade P760 irons. Speed foam meets tour design from TaylorMade. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
It was a heck of a day at the East Lake Cup. The men's individual champion is Viktor Hovland from Oklahoma State. Eagle at 14. Hovland wins his 3rd tournament of his collegiate career and spoke with our Chantel McCabe.
Well, Victor, it has been a nice several months for you, and now you are the individual champion at the East Lake Cup. How'd you pull it off, including a nice charge on the back 9 and an eagle?
Yeah, I played really solid today. It was mostly fairways and greens, and didn't make a lot of putts, but I made a couple, and yeah, just played really solid.
As a team, you guys will be entering match play. What are the biggest strengths that we got to see a preview of at NCAA's not long ago?
I mean, I guess I can't speak for the other guys, but at least for myself, I play pretty consistent golf. It's not one way in the trees and then on the next side I'll hit really close for some. It's pretty middle of the green kind of stuff. So I put a lot of pressure on my opponent, and yeah, just kind of play my own game. And if I do that, I think I'll go out as a winner. Yeah.
This golf course hosts the Tour Championship, so it's no easy test. But what do you like about match play that we'll be able to see a little bit of tomorrow? Yeah,
I mean, you're not playing against the whole field. You're just playing one guy, and you get to see what he does, and then you know what you have to do. Yeah, I mean, it's just it gets the aggressiveness out of my game onto the course a little bit more than it does in stroke play. So.
Congratulations on a job well done today. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Well, Oklahoma State, we know they won the NCAA team championship. And they will be the favorites despite losing today on the overall scoreboard to Duke. They're not the top seed, but they are still the favorites to win the East Lake Cup on Wednesday. You take a look at their last 25 starts as a team, 15 victories, including that win on their home course just 5 months ago at the NCAA championship. Jordan Spieth won a team NCAA championship while at Texas, spent just 1 year with the Longhorns. We know he's had an incredible career as a professional. Well, he gets his new season started this week in Las Vegas. What to expect straight ahead. Ryan Burr back with Ryan Lavner, GolfChannel.com, senior writer, college golf expert. You take a look at the East Cup winners. Illinois, they had a stranglehold on it.
Yeah, Illinois, and then Vanderbilt as the East Lake Cup men's winner. I think it shows the level of parity in men's college golf that neither of those two powerhouses are here in the 2018 edition.
And obviously, it's tough to get here. You got to be in the Final Four the year before at the NCAAs or 5 months before.
Yeah, Vanderbilt was a great team last year. Didn't even make match play after a final day collapse in stroke play.
Yeah, incredible. So here is the bracket, Ryan. We seem to be on a collision Duke-Oklahoma State final, but as we always say, especially in collegiate golf and match play, you kind of throw things out the window, don't you?
And don't sleep on that Oklahoma State-Alabama. That's obviously a rematch of the NCAA championship. Alabama has horrible memories, lost 5-0 in that championship match just a couple of months ago. Brian, they'll be coming out for revenge.
The Blue Devils are the top seed. Chantel spoke with Duke coach Jamie Green.
They showed us all what they've been doing all year. We've got some pretty strong players from top to bottom, and they were looking forward to the test today.
How about Chandler Eaton? A lot of anticipation, and he's had a very good fall season. So what can we expect from his game?
Well, you know, he's never played here before this week, but he is an Atlanta boy, so I think he probably feels a little bit comfortable close to home. But he's got a couple of teammates around him that like to push him as well.
Match play. We saw you guys at NCAAs not long ago, some returning members. What did you learn about your team and each player in match play that will help in the next 2 days?
They're resilient. I mean, I think we may be a little bit tired that 36-hole day, to be honest with you. Not taking anything away from Alabama. They played great, and they got great players. But I know they're looking forward to having a full rest and then an 18-hole round and then see what we got after that.
In your opponent, what are you expecting, without knowing pairings quite yet, but just head-to-head, how does that matchup look when it comes to the strength of players?
You can't show up here unless you've got a good team. Now, it's obviously based on last year's Final Four, last year's semifinal, but all these programs recruit the best of the best. So, you know, you can't take anybody for granted. Our guys said they'll take on anybody, anytime, in any position. So let's just see what we get.
And finally, you guys have the busiest schedule. This is your 5th event. No other team in the field at all has been able to do that. Does that help or hurt you?
I think when you come off of a summer of full play and you're ready to dive right in, I think it's a good thing for our guys. We don't always schedule 5, but you're not going to turn away the East Lake Cup.
All right, Ryan, let's take a look at the past champions, USC in 2015.
Yeah, no surprise when you look at the last 3 winners of this East Lake Cup. They're all blue bloods. USC, Duke, and USC once again, Ryan. Keep in mind those Trojans teams were coached by Andrea Gasson, legendary coach, left in the offseason for Texas A&M. Justin Silverstein has stepped in. Now the Trojans are #1 in the country and looking prime for another run here.
Yeah, they'll be back. So those blue bloods you talked about will have another crack at it as we take a look at the bracket. And it's interesting here. You get Stanford, Alabama, USC, and Arizona. Now, Stanford, if you just look at Monday's individual play, a dominant performance.
They beat Alabama by 26 shots in stroke play. You'd love to see the Crimson Tide full strength. They're missing their top 2 players, USC and Arizona on the other side of the bracket, 2 teams that are very familiar with each other.
Of course, now it is match play, which means anything can happen.
I think they know they have a chance at match play tomorrow, which match play anything can happen. And anytime they have a chance to go up one-on-one, play the golf course a little bit more aggressively, confidently, they're excited, ready to go.
The thing they have to remember in match play is, you know, you are playing the person, but putting pressure on the golf course is the name of the game. So we need to drive it and play. We need to put it in good spots on the green, and we can't really worry about Stanford. They're really good at every position. So we've got to do a good job of handling the golf course tomorrow.
Our group's really fired up to get out there and play against them. We've got a really, really strong match play group, and adding a freshman who's had some success at the North and South and the U.S. Junior and the amateur over the years in Malia Nam. We're really excited to get out there.
I think that's what's great about Aline, our freshman, is that she's got a ton of match play experience, and then obviously the other 4 have played in the national championship the last 3 years. So I feel good about it. Not going to be a lot of work for me to do, hopefully, and they'll go handle it. Match play doesn't always, low score doesn't always win either, so we're not going into it thinking it's going to be a walk. We're certainly going to be prepared and ready for anything. They're very experienced team, very well coached. I mean, Mick and Susan do a great job. So we're going to show up tomorrow expecting them to come guns a-blazing.
Well, based off of what happened today in the individual play, Stanford is a big-time favorite to finally break through and win the East Lake Cup. They've been here every year, have yet to capture the East Lake Cup championship. They will try to do that Wednesday. Golf Channel back in 30 seconds with a look ahead at this week's PGA Tour stop in Las Vegas.
What what happens when you combine the accuracy, workability, and feel of the P730 with speed foam from P790. You get distance with playability in your long irons and striking precision in your scoring irons. Designed through the set to be exactly where you need it. Introducing P760, the next generation of forged performance. Speed foam meets tour design from TaylorMade.
The Asian swing is complete on the PGA Tour. It is now off to the Shriners Hospitals for Children Open in Las Vegas. Last year, Patrick Cantlay clinched his first win on tour, three-way playoff. It was that 2-foot par at the second playoff hole that lifted Cantlay over Alex Chayka and Wee Kim. All three players bogeyed the first hole. Cantlay survived, though, on a windy day to get win number one. How about the field starting this Thursday? It is as good as advertised. You get Fowler and Spieth off the top. Included in that, Ryder Cup captain Jim Furyk, Ryder Cupper Bryson DeChambeau. Oh, by the way, Cameron Champ, who hits it further than anyone else on the PGA Tour, fresh off his first win on the PGA Tour, which came yesterday in Mississippi. But let's get to Jordan Spieth, who arrives here starting his next season, the new season trip, coming off a year where he had no victories. Now, we should say, great performance at the Masters, where he closed on Sunday, gave himself a chance. Final group after 54 holes at the Open Championship. Could have been a different kind of season if he finishes off either of those. He didn't. What do you expect this season?
Well, let's see. I mean, anything we know about Jordan Spieth, at least his past history, is he's played well this time of year. If we go back and look at Spieth in the fall over the last couple of seasons, this is since 24, you can see he's won 3 times in 11 starts. But and 10 of those are top 10, so only one time outside the top 10. You have to think about this typically a little bit thinner fields, if you will. I don't say weaker fields because, I mean, you've got quality players in every field on the PGA Tour. It's just all the depth isn't necessarily there in some of these. That might play to some of that. The thing for Jordan, though, is I think this year's just been a head-scratcher for him. I mean, he has been really struggling with his putting. The few times he got his putting going, the ball striking wasn't as consistent as he wants it. I mean, you go look at the last 3 seasons, he had 33 top 10s, including 11 wins the last 3. You mentioned no wins this season in 2018. But he only had, his best finish was 2 third-place finishes. You mentioned the Masters and a 9th-place finish at the Open Championship. The site of his last top 10, by the way. And remember, he didn't play his way to the Tour Championship because he was counting on that being in the last event that he needed. And remember, he didn't meet the requirement by the PGA Tour to play enough events.
Did show some signs at the Ryder Cup. I'll give him that. But certainly when you have a discussion of Jordan Spieth, the one thing everyone just can't just give him a pass on this past season is the putting.
Yeah.
A great putter, especially going back to 2015 when he was winning majors, a really solid putter through then, and then this year, the short miss. The short miss was something that really plagued him when he was in position. I know it's not an easy fix. The question would be, do you expect him to improve this year?
Well, look, what happens with Jordan is it's kind of one of those mental things that causes a little bit of a physical mistake. He's a great putter. He's going to be a great putter again. I am not worried long-term about Jordan Spieth's putting one iota at all. He's going to be fine long-term. He's going to get through this, but we'll see how long this storm lasts, and I call it a storm. And what I mean by a mental causing a physical, he gets a little anxious and gets out what we call, out there and not really into the ball, and he kind of lifts up and he kind of comes up and out of it, and he's kind of like anxious to watch it. If he could work on keeping everything there, when he putts his best, he stays down that little bit extra. It's a millisecond extra, but that lets him keep the putter going down line, and I think that's the main reason why that we see that. It's that mental thing of caring too much about making or missing, and you're out there versus being back in and just committed to making a good stroke.
Yeah, you think so much about his body language. I mean, he's walking after a putt
Yeah.
Way quicker. He barely has touched it, and he already knows he's missed it, and he's walking after it.
Exactly.
It's not a great look.
It's not, but I think it is a little bit psychosomatic, if you will. I mean, I think if he can get out of that and just not care whether he makes or misses it, and just gets into his routine and making a great stroke, he's got great touch. He's got great feel. He'll be fine long term. Let's see if he can fix it in Vegas this week.
Well, as you said, he's done great in the fall before, and some of those fall finishes, you think back to that great 2015 when he won 2 majors. Earlier in that fall, he won in Australia, and he also won a Tigers event at Isleworth. So, you know, the fall can jumpstart Jordan Spieth. We'll see him this week. He's one of the many great players in the field. We are live from Las Vegas. Coverage of the Shriners Hospitals for Children Open begins Thursday at 4 p.m. When we come back, the East Lake Cup semifinals are set. It is now match play where anything is possible. The pairings are in. We'll break down the semifinals match by match next. All right, the pairings are set for both the women's bracket and the men's bracket. It is now match play. Semifinals are set. Oklahoma State, Alabama. We'll get into that matchup in just a bit. And Auburn ready to take on Duke. Duke on Monday was able to have the best combined score. That's thrown out the window. Now it's match play. And Ryan Lavner, we take a look at some of these matchups right out of the gate. We get Crow and Penderes. Now Smalley, a solid performance there. He's in that final match. In fact, you look at Smalley, he is 28 under par. 28 under in his last contested rounds. Incredible.
Yeah, but I've got my eye on the 4th match. Chandler Eaton shot 69 today, going up against Brandon Menchino, the NCAA runner-up, shot 80 today. Auburn absolutely needs him to play better if they want to have a chance tomorrow.
So once again, it is now matched by the semifinals are set. We bring in Steve Burkowski. Burko, it's always fun when you see the match play pairings go up. Who's going to play who? We know Oklahoma State came out with the big dogs right out of the gate, but in that Auburn-Duke matchup, Lab thinks Menchino is a huge factor. Shot 80 today. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's not a perfect science, Ryan, for these coaches, whether they've been in match play multiple times or this their very first go-around. But when you take a look at what Duke has done today, this has been a culmination of what they have done all fall season. You take a look at their matches, you put Eaton and Smalley 4-5. They backload just a little bit. I agree with Ryan that match against Eaton and Menchino, Brandon Menchino needs to play well. You look at Jovan Rabula and Wells Padgett. There are a couple of Auburn Tigers that have been battling injuries throughout the course of this season. Head coach Nick Kleiner telling me earlier today he's had 8 different players in the lineup in the fall, trying to find that perfect mix, get everybody a little bit of an experience. So I think Auburn, an uphill climb. And again, we talked about it in the pregame show. Keep an eye on Duke. This is a good team that continues to get better as this season rolls along.
Now, Burko, certainly that will be entertaining in the semifinal matchup, the Tigers and the Blue Devils. But this is what we've come to see, Ryan Lafner. You get 2 teams, both with a ton of swagger. Oklahoma State, the defending NCAA champs. Alabama's not going to take a second seat to anyone, and we get them out of the gate in the semifinals. How about Oklahoma State coming out of the box with Hovland and Wolf?
NCAA rematch here. 4 of the Cowboys' 5 starters from last year's NCAA championship team are back. This is a huge spot for Alabama's 2 freshmen, Frankie Saplin and Prescott Butler. Drawing Victor Hovland and senior Hayden Wood, that's a tough spot for anybody, but especially for those Alabama freshmen.
All right, Lav, how big of a favorite are the Cowboys?
Not huge. I wouldn't think they're going to go 5-0 like they did a couple months ago at Karsten Creek. I could see a 3-2 swing match here or there.
Wow, if it's that close, we know anything can happen. Bring in Burko again. Burko, Oklahoma State. Listen, this is what the nation knows is college golf. They have their own reality show with Ricky Fowler. We saw them dominate on their home course in the NCAAs. How big of a favorite do you believe Oklahoma State is to get to the final here?
I think a lot bigger than what Ryan Lavner thinks. And you put Hovland and Wolf out, that's a familiar position for those two. And that's where they started in stroke play. Alan Bratton sharing with us on the broadcast earlier today that Victor Hovland is my #1 guy. He has been more consistent. You think that doesn't fire up Matt Wolf just a little bit, a guy that had won 3 straight tournaments coming in to the East Lake Cup? Alabama is young. Jay Sewell, their head coach, telling me he's not been this young for about 6 or 7 seasons. I think they've got an uphill climb, but the great thing about the East Lake Cup, you have that opportunity to gain some experience, put some reps under your belt going up against the very best. And while it is a rematch of that national championship match we saw in Stillwater back in May, there are no individual rematches. So a little bit of a clean slate on that front. We'll see if the Crimson Tide can perform a little better than they did back in May at Carson Creek Golf Club.
Now, certainly will be fun to watch, Burko. Let's get to the women's side here. Semifinals, the matchups are in. It is straight match play now. What Stanford did on Monday, you'd say there's no way they could lose, especially to Alabama. I'm telling you, folks, we've seen it before in match play. Monday means nothing. Stanford, a gigantic favorite against Alabama, and they know that. Alabama, nothing to lose on the women's side on Tuesday in the semifinals. With that said, Lav, what do you got?
Well, they better hope that Monday means nothing, because they lost by 26 shots in the stroke play portion. Alabama's bottom 2 players shot 25 over par. Maybe the format change is going to help them, maybe not. Angelica Moresco absolutely has to take that point against Albin Valenzuela, who won the stroke play portion here, if Alabama has any shot. But I think this is a potential blowout here.
A potential blowout, says Ryan Lavner. We once again bring in Burko. Burko, we've seen these lopsided matchups go to match play on the semifinals, and we're always shocked how close they are and how sometimes the underdog is able to win in the match play format. With that said, how big of a favorite is Stanford?
Oh, they're huge. They're bookended with their 2 best players, Andrea Lee going off early, head coach Ann Walker making a statement, putting her out first, and then Albin Valenzuela in that anchor match. I don't even think it gets there. We referenced in the pregame show how things have changed for Alabama, losing their 2 best players, at least this week, to the Q Series for the LPGA Tour. Maybe keep an eye on Kenzie Wright, see if she can do something. We talk about this as an opportunity for players to learn to get some match play experience. Mick Potter's been a head coach in women's college golf for more than 30 years. He told me this is the biggest challenge ahead of him for the next 6 months, to get these young women to believe that they are good enough. And he knows there's a lot of work it's going to take to get back to where they want to be come the spring. Maybe it can start tomorrow. And again, I don't believe they will win. I think it is a big uphill climb. But as Lavner alluded to, maybe some matches go deeper than many people think. They've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. On paper, though, Stanford should finally head to the championship match and hopefully win the East Lake Cup for the first time, as they're here for the 4th straight year.
Yeah, obviously those triple and double bogeys won't hurt quite as much in the match play format. Moving to the other semifinals, Southern Cal, Arizona. Lav, this is a different story. Very close on Monday. How close are they on Tuesday?
Well, the defending national champions absolutely have their hands full. Southern Cal has the deepest team, 1 through 5 in the country. They really go 6, 7, 8 deep if you look at the rest of their roster. They don't have a superstar, but that depth is extraordinary. You look at that first matchup, those are 2 players you're going to see someday on the LPGA. I'm curious about Yu Sang Ho of Arizona. How much gas does she have left in the tank? She got in at 6 a.m. off a red-eye after playing the LPGA event in Taiwan. Is she going to be completely gassed tomorrow, or is she going to continue to play as well as she did on Monday?
Well, she shot 69 today, so certainly she was running on fuel that was up to the challenge here on Monday. What remains on Tuesday? Bring in Burko again. Burko, you got the Trojans, you got the Wildcats. Should be entertaining.
Yeah, I think it's the most compelling of the 4 semifinal matches on paper, as the pairings announced about 15 minutes ago. You look at Jennifer Chang right out of the gates for Southern Cal. She did that twice at the NCAA championships. She lost both of those matches in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Bianca Pagden-Gannon is a game changer. We saw what she could do at Carson Creek, getting them into match play with that 8th and final seed. I think this is a team, actually I know this is a team, Arizona, that they feel a little bit disrespected after watching the broadcast back on tape, after winning that national championship. They didn't look at themselves as a Cinderella story. They looked at themselves as a top 10 team that made the most of that opportunity. Laura Ianello, the head coach, telling me it was validation for all the work she's done. But this team, the Arizona Wildcats, they have a chip on their shoulder. Watch them tomorrow. Lavner alluded to it. The deepest team, maybe the best team, Southern Cal, 4 sophomores and a freshman. Very talented, but you know what? Arizona knows that they can get the job done in match play. It'd be interesting to watch this one play out tomorrow afternoon here at Eastlake.
A Pac-12 matchup will be entertaining for sure. Thank you, Burko. Still to come here on Golf Central. Cameron Champ, what a performance on the PGA Tour yesterday to win for the first time at Sanderson Farms. He's back in Las Vegas. His keys to winning next.
All right, I got the Roswell. Hey. That's you, right? Mm-hmm. All right, now what makes the Roswell different? Obviously, I can see the weight track, but what makes the Roswell different from any other driver with movable weight?
So it's one of the longest weight tracks on the market for, ultimate forgiveness for all players. So, if you're typically have a certain ball flight, you can bias it one way or the other to counteract that.
I like it. It's different.
Thank you.
Damn, kids that young shouldn't be that smart. I'm just letting you know.
Hey, they're coming up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow, yeah, baby. Fly. That's nice.
Hounded.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts on looks and feel?
I mean, I just striped that one and it felt like money.
Yeah, it was good. 301.5. Great launch angle, great spin, good flight.
Do you think that everything that's going on in the bottom of that club is going to scare away, or would it attract someone walking into a store?
I think something that makes someone pick a driver off the rack is something that's flashy. I would say a bit of the older crowd is more looking for like a traditional look, but as the younger generation, starts to pick up golf clubs, this is something that, I could see a consumer picking up off the rack just because it's different.
Don't miss an all-new driver versus driver. It's tomorrow night at 9 right here on Golf Channel. Ryan Burback with Trip Eisenhower. Trip, what a performance Sunday at the Sanderson Farms, Jackson, Mississippi. Cameron Champ, he's never won on the PGA Tour, just got his card via the web.com, and boy, did he put on a show.
What did Tiger say in 96, Hello World? Hello World was said by Mr. Champ in Jackson, Mississippi. And Ryan, we know what he does off the tee, but this young man is a fantastic putter. In fact, this putt right here, he said, was the turning point. 16th hole, that gave him a 2-shot cushion for the last 2 to play. Second in putting for the week.
And what do you make of his driving distance? We've never seen anything quite like it.
I've never seen somebody longer and straighter than Cameron Champ. I had a pleasure of watching him play the web.com tour this last season a couple of times, and I can tell you firsthand, it is impressive. And he doesn't look like he's swinging that hard at it. When he does find the rough, he's usually got a short distance to cover to get to the green, and there was a short distance to cover and win by 4 shots.
He's come a long way since Texas A&M, but boy, he's learned a lot since last year in the web.com.
I just feel like my maturity level from then till now is dramatically different. So just the way I approach the game, I think about it. There's no pressure. I just play. And I think that's just kind of what's made me, I guess, like I said, progress as a player, but then also helped me out this week. I'd like to thank my parents, my family and friends, everyone close around me. Through all the years, obviously this year has been a big roller coaster. This time last year I was in school, made it through Q school, then the web, graduated from there, and then obviously my second start on the PGA Tour I won. So it's just been an amazing year.
Well, let's take a look inside the winner's bag presented by Golf Galaxy. And for Cameron Champ, the big dog is Ping all the way through the bag with a Srixon golf ball. Cameron Champ, he'll be in the field this Thursday in Las Vegas, seeing just what he can do after winning for the first time on the PGA Tour. Still to come, we already know who the individual champions are from the Eastlake Cup. We'll get to that in a minute. Here are the FedEx Cup standings now. The new season, the race to the FedEx Cup are here. Victor Havlin won the individual portion on the men's side. How about the team portion for both the men and the women? That's still to be decided. We're on to match play next on Golf Central.
Golf Central is brought to you by Golf Galaxy, the best place to better your game. Book your spot now on a Golf Advisor getaway at golfadvisor.com/getaways.
You will see the best teams in the country go head-to-head in match play until a winner is decided. We are live from the East Lake Cup tomorrow. Golf Channel on the air, 2 p.m. as the semifinals are underway. Hall of Famer Dick Vitale, he'll be the keynote speaker at the East Lake Cup Gala tonight. He spoke with Chantel.
Well, I'm honored, first of all, to be around a bunch of champions like these young athletes are. I mean, anybody that's gotten involved in golf, my family's been tennis. My two daughters went to Notre Dame on tennis scholarships, but I know the work involved to be in a golf star, to be a tennis star. So I'm really honored to be here and to share a message about make it in the game of life, the game we'll all play.
I've done a lot of shows in my career with Dick Vitale sitting to my left like you are, Tripp, and I can tell you, everyone at the East Lake Cup Gala tonight in for a treat. There is very few better in that spot than Dick Vitale, so they'll be in for a big night. How about tomorrow? How do you see this unfolding?
Well, I think the Stanford Cardinal will be playing the USC Trojans on the women's side, and on the men's side, I got to say that it's just shaping up to be the Blue Devils and the Cowboys, and it's going to be a heck of a match. But I do say anything can happen, but I think those are the likely four teams playing for the championship Wednesday.
I would agree that that's what the bracket's going to look like by this time tomorrow. I do think Stanford's going to be able to cruise against a decimated Alabama team, and USC has won 2 of these 3 East Lake Cups, going up against the defending national champion Arizona Wildcats. Depth is what you want in the match play format. There's no easy points, and USC has that in abundance. You know,
Oklahoma State, Ryan, has all the flair. We talked about it. They had their own reality show. I think everyone thinks they're in the finals. You say not so fast. Why do you give Alabama a chance?
I just think that they have Davis Riley. I think he's a great player. He's been a first-team All-American before. And I think with their 4 underclassmen, they're so unproven that they could come through tomorrow and surprise us. But I would agree that Oklahoma State is a favorite.
It's going to be a lot of fun. The East Lake Cup Match Play semifinals. We are on the air 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Until then, have a great night. Let's get to the women's action here. This is the East Lake Cup women's individual race. Albin Valenzuela showed you off the top from Stanford, this at the 8th.
And she's got a lot of game, Ryan. Keep in mind, she opened with a 67 at the ANA. That's a major, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a major league shot out of Valenzuela.
Now, she's 5th in the World Golf amateur ranking, so obviously she can go. Yusang Ho now from Arizona, trailing by 2.
This is that par 5 down the hill that I said I just love, because it's this shot down the hill gives you opportunities to make some threes here, and that's sitting 10 feet away from an eagle.
And she seems to be coming into her own. Just 83rd in the World Amateur Golf Rankings, the sophomore from Taiwan, and she all of a sudden ties the lead at 1 under. Looking to keep it up now. Here she is at 15.
Now they're playing the tee that's over to the left-hand side of this hole. They don't go back there along the road, but it's still a demanding shot nonetheless. Very little you see up there but water, but that she saw all flag.
And Ho takes the lead at 2 under par. All the pressure now on Valenzuela playing at 16.
Yeah, well, any questions at this point, she starts to tie it back up at 2 under par.
Incredible action here, drama. Now at 18, this is why they changed the hole, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, some will say the par 3 was a better finisher. I think the holes leading up to 18 as a par 3 were better, but there's no question that this finishing hole lends to more excitement, and there we got some right there, because these players can get there in 2 shots. And here's Valenzuela, 227 away. Looks like a nice high cut swing, trying to work it in there slightly left to right. And she does just that.
And she's been in big spots before. One of 3 amateurs that competed in the 2016 Rio Olympics. Now it's Ho.
This is for birdie. She chipped it here. That was a very difficult chip. The green running away from her. So a good chip to get it to there. But there she says, you're going to have to make that putt to win, Miss Valenzuela.
Big-time birdie putt. All the pressure on Valenzuela. This is for eagle in the wind.
Up the hill, not much break in it, and there is your champion.
And it is the 2nd tournament win of Valenzuela's collegiate career. She also won the 2017 Albuquerque Regional. It's an eagle on 18 to win by 1. Incredible drama and action. Can only imagine what Tuesday and Wednesday from the East Lake Cup have in store.
10 minutes. 아, 10 minutes 있으면 돼. Ah! God dang. God. Ah! Ah! Dang it. Kau sedang break? Over? Dang it.